The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, and down by the lagoon at the 420 studio, as Archie Bunker would have pronounced it. And that's a bit of a segue, because my guest is from the same hometown as Carol O'Connor and me. Introducing and welcoming back to the mic. You've been here before, Glenn. And
yes, sir.
Happy to have you, Mr. Glenn Hirsch.
Thank you, Ralph. Zig Man, good to be back with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Glenn, it's been a while, and I'm in for a treat. My audience is in for a treat because you're going to introduce an aspiring singer who happens to be your daughter. And
yes, I'm very proud of her, Ralph. Thank you very much. I mean, we'll speak, but she's right now dealing with some issues musically, setting up a new show. Opportunities, sorry, that's the word. And so she'll be joining us in a few minutes. But right now, I'm sad to say, Ralph, you got me.
I got you, and that's all I really counted on at first. Your daughter's a bonus, but I got you.
Oh, okay.
You know, Glenn, we talked about 2 or 3 years ago on these airwaves. And
wait, is it that long ago now?
It is, and I still remember the conversation, but because it revolved around the bakeries that you went to. I lived on 91st Street in Jackson Heights. You lived, if I'm not mistaken, on 89th Street.
I was close, Ralph. I was on 88th.
88th.
Between Northern and Third Street. Are you Northridge? Are you Northridge?
I was.
You were, okay. You were 91st. Okay.
91st.
Which building?
At 3223, which, as you know, they're pretty much the same on every block. We had 16 co-ops built around a public school and a schoolyard. And
it was the center of the universe. We had talked about this before. And I'm pleased to say, after 2 or 3 years that we've talked last, my mother is still in that apartment. She's the last original tenant in the building. Thinking about having her, I'm thinking about having her bronze and hung outside her front door. As an honor.
Absolutely.
Remarkable.
And the neighborhood has gone through all kinds of changes. I was back about a year and a half ago, and we got an Airbnb in 84th Street or something, and we had a little reunion at the park, and
I think I told you I went to the second one. I went to the second reunion that we had.
Well, this one was about the 15th or 20th reunion.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy after a while. But had you been back to any before? Or that was the first one you
That was the first one I've been back to. I was Wayne put it together.
Right.
And
yeah.
It was really cool for me. I got to see some people that I hadn't seen for 50 years, for crying out loud.
It is pretty right. And the neighborhood has changed, obviously, since you've seen it drastically.
It has, but it has a new flavor, a certain, a lot of ethnicity, a culture to it that it didn't have. And I enjoyed the restaurants. I enjoyed the proximity to the city, where you just boom, you're over the bridge, and you're.
Well, let me tell you something, Ralph. The neighborhood, food-wise, has gone through the roof. I mean, there are some incredible restaurants. There's one place called Uncle Peter's. Uncle Peter's on 85th and Northern, which is just superb. I mean, I can't recommend it highly. If anybody's listening and wants to get a good meal in Queens and Jackson Heights, that's the place to go. But there are so many places. I mean, I mean, you remember how we had it. We had the delicatessen, we had the Chinese restaurant, and we had Pizza Sam's after a while. That was it. No food.
That was it. But you're forgetting the main the main thing with those little hamburgers with the
White Castle. Yeah. How can I possibly forget? My God. It's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
If they did DNA tests on us, everybody from the Heights has more White Castle in us than we have Ashkenazi Jew.
Absolutely. So look, my brother, at one point in his life, I think before the age of 10, would only eat jelly sandwiches and White Castle hamburgers. That was it. In fact, he moved to Florida in 1980, and now, of course, you can get White Castle hamburgers in the supermarket.
Right.
For years, though, he would crave them. So if anybody was coming down from New York to visit him in Florida, they were told it was mandatory that they had to fly down with at least 10 White Castle hamburgers on their laps in a bag. And that's how he existed for years, needing those White Castle hamburgers. But it's true, I can't believe I forgot White Castle.
Well,
sad.
The important things you forget, the unimportant things you don't forget. You didn't forget me.
No, sir.
All right. And speaking of unimportant things, let me ask you something. I've talked to a number of people all my life, and they feel that the most influential years of learning were the mid-school years, junior high school. And you and I attended Joseph Pulitzer Junior High School.
Right.
And for that reason, I want your impression of your experience. I thought it was my only positive experience. I hated 145, hated Newtown High School, but I loved Joseph Pulitzer. I loved the experience. Did you feel the same way?
Well, I was ambivalent about school anyway. I mean, I never worked hard enough. As a comedian, I was always looking to laugh and have fun, and that pissed a lot of teachers off. We were like natural enemies, So for me, grade school was fun, but it was always about the fun. It was about the socialization. In junior high school, 145, that was where I first started experiencing the opposite sex. I had my first girlfriend at 13 years old. It was a different experience in that, and you know that. It was the first time you had to leave a class and go to another teacher to take English, take math, take science. So that was a new experience, which was leading you towards high school and towards college. And for that, I think, a lot of people, and I'm sure my daughter would talk about it, for a lot of kids, middle school is not the best time, 12, 13 years old. For me, it was just more socializing, more opportunities. But in terms of school, I'm ready for high school now. I'm ready to go back now. I know how to work now. I could kill in college. I didn't know how to work. Nobody taught me how to work. I did just enough to get by. You know what I mean? I don't know. Does that answer the question in some way?
The discipline came later, and I'm betting it was when you had to discipline your act, you had to write an act, you had to put it together and rehearse it and get on stage.
Well, that's so interesting you say that, because I did not have much discipline when I first started. I was all over the place. Like I said, I had to learn discipline. I had to learn how to work. I had to find my own voice. I had to put together a set. And yes, discipline is a very important part of what I do, and I wish I'd have learned it earlier in life. I didn't. Did you?
I haven't yet. But there's always hope, Glenn. I'm a positive person.
Absolutely.
I look to change. If only
I agree. Look, I just the fact that you have put together your podcast and your website, I find that wonderful, incredible discipline. You should be proud of you. I'm proud of you.
If anybody can learn this, if I can learn discipline, anybody can.
Yeah,
and
exactly
you know
right.
That's Wayne Unger from Jackson Heights, New York.
Is he on with us now?
He's on with us now. It's a surprise for you, Glenn.
Wayne, good to almost hear your voice. Were you in Florida?
I am in Florida. I'm actually in the car.
Okay, yeah. You sound like you're in the car underwater. So, almost hear your voice.
Wait a second.
But listen to me.
I'm going to take it off of speaker because in Florida it's legal to hold your phone and drive.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's legal to hold a gun to your kid's head in Florida.
Yeah,
True.
I can talk and hold the phone. Florida's like the only state where it's hard to get a real estate license, a barber's license, and everything else. But just about anybody can get a license for concealed carry.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's Florida for you. Out here, I'm feeling guilty living in California that you are actually holding your phone while you're driving. I feel bad. I feel like I'm going to get a ticket for that. That's the problem. California's that way. We're so regulated out here.
Well, now there are penalties go up to $500 for talking on your phone and driving.
Oh,
That's
of course.
an expensive conversation.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But it is insane to do that, man. And the people that text and drive, come on. I mean, any time I'm stuck at a light that's green for like a minute, I know somebody's head is down in their lap, texting or reading or doing something with their phone. The world is a different place.
Can you imagine having the experience of texting in Chinese while driving?
Yeah, that's true. And somebody's doing. As we speak, there are probably 1 million people doing it somewhere on this planet.
And you know what? In an hour, they'll be hungry to do it again.
Love that. Well, listen, my daughter's ready to come join us. Is that okay?
All right. Please introduce
All right,
her.
So, yes, I will. The next voice you hear will be that of Zoë Nicole, my daughter, and a really wonderful singer-songwriter. Zoe, are you with us?
I'm with ya.
Nice to meet
this is
you.
Ralph. You know Ralph.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is really cool for me. I don't know.
Cool for me too.
Zoe,
Thank you, Ralph, for this.
It's from the heart because there's a certain connect that we all have from Jackson Heights it's really unbelievable, and to have this opportunity is great. Yeah. Did you grow up mostly in New York or in California?
No, I actually grew up in Los Angeles. My parents moved here and then raised me in Santa Monica. But, I've been back to Jackson Heights in New York my entire life. My grandma still lives there, my bubby.
Right.
And so I definitely have a pretty strong connection as well.
Oh, yeah, she's a native California.
You have a bit of a New York accent.
We have raised a native Californians.
You have a bit of a New York accent.
No, that's just probably, I get that. I actually do get that a lot. But
it's from hanging out in the living room.
Yeah, it's probably coming out more because I'm talking to you and my dad.
All right. Whatever brings out a New York accent it can't be all bad.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree.
Now,
what inspired you to go into a very difficult business?
Good question. I think it all started for me, definitely just with the music itself. I always played music. I grew up in band, and then went into choir and started songwriting. And I think sometimes, even though something is difficult, it's what is your passion and what you want to do, and you kind of just have to step up and say, I don't care if it's hard, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And that was kind of my mentality. But it gets harder and harder each day. Like doors close and close and close until one door slightly opens, and then it's a revolving what do they say? revolving window. No, a revolving
door.
A revolving door, I guess. But yeah, I took a shot, and we'll see. Growing up with like artists as parents, it was definitely helpful because they're very supportive. But it's also, you see the challenges as well.
And she was always a good writer. She, as a kid, she loved to write poetry, and she won a poetry contest, and it's just that kind of stuff we saw. Look, what do I know about the music business? All I know is that I love music, and that's where she got her ear from. I mean, she's 23-year-old kid who loves classic rock and roll, and that's from I guess my library of music and then of course she's current and she knows stuff that I'll never know, but that's where it started, and music's been a part of my life my whole life too, and
My spark for music and my love was definitely brought to me by my dad, just because he played it around the house growing up all the time. So I have a strange obsession with the Beatles as a 23-year-old. I have a Imagine tattooed on me, so I'm definitely an old soul in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I don't play an instrument, but Zoe plays piano, plays guitar. But her strength is really the singing and the songwriting, and that's why, she's now branching out into clubs now. She's working, the lifestyle is a different, unique thing, but, she's working this Saturday night at the Study in Hollywood. So where exactly is that? Yeah,
it's in Hollywood, I believe 8:30. I'm on at 8:30. It's super exciting because it's, getting to play in LA and at these places, it's just super exciting for me.
Yeah, she was at the Troubadour 2 months ago. Now she's there. She'll be at the Viper in September, the Viper Room. And now she's just now negotiating a deal with the Hotel Cafe, right?
Yeah, not yet, though, so we...
Oh, she's getting there. Well, Ralph, it's just exciting to watch her grow, And discipline. She's got tremendous discipline.
We were just talking about discipline, Zoe, and that is so important. And it doesn't show business out of show business in life. It is.
So true.
Yeah. I think in that way, I mean, my mom when I was 15 said, "You go get a job," and so I've been working, in the restaurant business since I'm 15. So for the past almost 8 years now. I've had 3 jobs at a time when I was going to school up in Davis, and that's definitely my work ethic is incredibly strong. And I think, I even learned this from my boyfriend who's a musician as well and an artist. And, the fact that sometimes you have to look at it as a business, and that can be hard sometimes to look at something you love in your art as a business. But I think if you don't put that work ethic into it from the start, you can end up just stumbling all over the place when it gets later on down the road.
Look at me, Ralph. I'm learning from my daughter. This is what I wish I had when I was her age. Fascinating.
Well,
thank you for this call.
If you have ever read George Bernard Shaw, that's what it's supposed to be. We're replaceable by a newer, better model. And
that's true.
If we could accept that, it makes passing, if you will, or so much easier.
What's exciting to me? You're right. You're absolutely right. What's exciting to me is that when we talked, you and I just talked about the lack of discipline that I felt I didn't have or wasn't helped to grow. I see it in my daughter, and that thrills me to know that somewhere along the way, with pretty much her mother's hand, because my wife, another tremendous artist and actress, has incredible discipline.
Mm-hmm.
She puts her head down and she doesn't stop till she needs to stop, or she's told to stop. Me, over the years, I could find a lot of things to do instead of doing what was needed to be done. I see now in my daughter that desire and that strength, and that's wonderful to me. That's wonderful.
Nice. Glenn, I'm glowing for you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ralph. I'm telling you, this phone call with Zoe on the other line. I'm learning about her. And it makes me feel good about me. But she's a very talented human being.
Just to have your ears open to learn is what? You're almost 40 now, Glenn.
Yes, I am.
she's 38.
36. God.
He's 38.
Well, yeah, you never stop growing, you know. I mean, look, the aging process is a bitch, and it lasts a lifetime. I feel like I've gone from 0 to 60 in a New York minute. So, you know, life goes by no matter what you do. It's like Lennon said, life was what's happening when you're busy making other plans. And, you know, and I must have been having a good time for all these years because, you know, time flies when you're having fun. You know.
Yeah,
and
I could quote some other Lennon stuff. I'm not going to break up. Fuck that. But he ended up breaking up. Who knew?
Right. Of course.
You know, that's one of the things when I was back in New York, passing the Dakota, going to Central Park, that was very, very eerie to me. First time I've been back since the World Trade Center and since John Lennon's passing. So it's part of New York.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he was there in May, right?
I was there in May, and I think, ever since my dad, took me to Strawberry Fields and to the Dakota, I like to go back, every trip that I'm there.
It's a place to pay homage. It is. It's a place.
And also, my cousin, your cousin, my dad's cousin, my second cousin, she has an apartment right next to the Dakota. So.
Oh, really?
Not that we've ever been there. Not that anybody's ever been there.
Yeah.
She lives in Queens, but she has an apartment next to the Dakota.
Let me tell you something, Ralph. That conversation's a whole other
podcast.
Yeah.
No, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. And I'd like a therapist on with us when we speak.
What family doesn't need a therapist?
Yeah.
Bruce, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. What family doesn't need a therapist? I can't answer that. There is none that I know of.
And I've seen a lot of families and known a lot of families. And the sad part is that families don't really need therapists because it only makes you more fatigued.
Yeah, that's true. And let me tell you something. Some of the strangest people I know are therapists. They need help.
Absolutely. Well, they wouldn't have gone into the business in the first place, and they are all, by nature of the beast, being therapized by some other cockamaniac.
Yeah, I guess, who knows why? I think maybe it's that they don't have to deal with their own issues. They just live vicariously through other people, and they help them, and that's a good thing. But I don't know how many, a lot of them don't really work on themselves.
Serious for a second, my friend who's a therapist says it in those words. The stories are great, he says, and you get to help people. But the theater can't be beat. Real life theater.
That's very funny.
And they hate you.
Right. Yes. And then, right. That's very true. And then if you're tired, we have to stop now. I'll see you next week.
Right. Yes, right. Just as you're getting to it, just as you're getting to the point, you may be helped for a second. Oh, time's up.
Well, it's like a series, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5,
All right. Hey,
but
did your dad make you laugh? Zoe, let me ask you, did your dad make you laugh when you were a kid?
Yeah.
How did he do it? He couldn't do a bit or anything, but what was it that made you laugh? Because humor is contagious, and sometimes you can't even put it into words why you're laughing. But what was it that made you laugh?
I think that's funny because my whole life growing up, anytime we'd say, "Oh, my dad's a comedian," people would be like, "Tell us a joke." And it's like the same thing people do that to like singers, like, "Oh, I'm a singer," they'll be like, "Sing a song." And it doesn't work, like you're not going to laugh if someone tells you a joke at a restaurant when it's not a part of a bit. But I think what my dad has is he has this like anytime something's happening, he's very witty. So it's like, and don't get me wrong, just because he's a comedian, he still has a bunch of dad jokes. So he throws a bunch of
age stuff too.
He throws a bunch of dad jokes in there, but he definitely lightened our house.
What?
Ralph?
Still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay.
I thought I lost you for a second.
Yeah. Good.
And so it's he just brought a lot of love and laughter into our house, and I'm very thankful for that.
I always like playing with her. My favorite time in her life was when
we had a lot of games.
Park.
Oh yeah, the park. He still wants to go to the park today.
Me, Zoe, and all the other mothers. I love that.
Yeah, we go to the park. We also create games. There was a lot of we had an egg carton game, and then we would do cooking shows, to no one, which seems like Tyko now, looking back on it. But
Glenn, we lived parallel lives. I got to raise my kid as the house dad, as the stay-at-home dad for his first 5 years. And it was all the park. And with me, it was the other breeders, not the other mothers, the other breeders. I would identify us as simply that, and I would say we're all in the same boat. We're breeders. Some of us like the job. Some of us don't like the job. If you don't like the job, you don't like me. And so, but it was
Zoe's a very
wonderful.
She's got a great sense of humor too, my kid. So
no, I'm not that funny.
Yeah. She's a serious human being. But we laugh. We laugh a lot. And she knows comedy. She knows the older comedians, just hanging around, just being in the house. We, just in passing, just like music was part of my life, comedians are part of my life. So,
Glenn, I
she just
may
saw
have
them.
asked you this years ago, which albums did you give me 2 or 3 of the comedy albums? I did Steve Allen, Cosby, of course, Bill Dana. What were some of yours?
For me, it was early Lenny Bruce. When I was a kid, I never listened to albums. The albums that I listened to when I was younger were always at somebody else's house. It was like Belle Barth and Vaughn Meader. Remember Vaughn Meader? The White House
president.
Right, and then Alan Sherman. And you got me thinking about the albums. Alan Sherman, and they were all more musical, I guess, except for Vaughn Meader. But Belle Barth, of course, was that X-rated big 40 comedian, and that was entertaining to me because I was a little kid, and we found them hidden in a friend's my friend's father had put them in a place where he didn't think anybody would find them, or we found them when nobody was home. So those were exciting things. But then as I got older...
And Glenn, you want to hear something funny? Same thing in my house. There was a Belle Barth album. And by the way, hi, Zoe. I'm going under. The older kids in the park forgot to introduce me.
Yeah, well, with me, when I got older and I got into comedy, people would introduce albums to me, like Lenny Bruce's album at Carnegie Hall was very interesting to listen to. And then, of course, Pryor and Carlin and...
you also liked physical. You liked, the Three Stooges.
Well, that was television.
Yeah,
television,
but that was such a big thing back then. And I think what's funny is, you guys are talking about comedy albums, where for us it's the Netflix TV specials that comedians do now. So it's just it's so strange. You would never think, did you buy that comedy album?
Right.
But that's awesome.
There's no such thing anymore, really. I mean, they're out there.
No, and people listen to there's even podcasts, comedy podcasts.
No. And they have them on, iTunes. These guys putting albums out.
Yeah.
And, I used to sell my album out there, too. But, it's different now. Just totally different.
Hey, may I say the best that I'm getting from this interview is that you're both so proud of each other. That's nice for me.
Well, that's wonderfully said. Thanks, Ralph. That's exciting to hear. Thank you.
That comes through more than anything else is that I hear in your voice how you really feel. And
well, you know what? Thank you. That's great. I respect my daughter, not just because I love her to death, but as the person she is. My wife and I raised a good human being.
And she'll never have to doubt that.
No.
And there are very few people that go through that in their lives, passing on parents, mothers to sons, fathers to sons, that sort of thing.
With me, I wish I had this kind of stuff that I always told myself I was going to be the father I wish I always had. Because my dad died when I was 18. My mother, I love her to death, but, you know, she only knew food, clothing, and shelter. She didn't know self-esteem and pride and discipline, all those things. She didn't teach me how to work. She didn't know it. She didn't mean to hurt me, but she was not aware of that. So with my daughter, I'm just proud to know the kind of person she is. I'm proud of her. And that's something that, you know, I don't know if we worked hard on it, but we treated her with respect and dignity. And I think that's important.
Something like I'm very fortunate about, like even with my mom, with my mom, she, you know, she instilled that belief in me. Definitely, like my mom, you know, just to talk about her for a second, but she really, you know, believed in me since I was little. I think my mom is one of my biggest fans.
It's not the biggest.
It's not the biggest, in a different way than my dad. And my dad is the type of person that kind of likes to see. He's like more of a seer to believe. What is that? Where it's like I need to see it to believe, like tangible. Like, like he's not like let's go to
realist.
He's like a realist, exactly. And my mom's more of like
it's a dreamer and
today, she's more of a dreamer. Thanks, Dad.
But not just a dreamer though. She puts into action.
Right? Yeah, she's very much about action. And you know, I was able to like grow up, you know, studying acting with her and getting that basis and pushing me into dance. And I played soccer and I did music. And you know, she played the flute, so I played the clarinet growing up. And so you know, I really got pushed by her into that area. And then my dad, you know, he was traveling a lot of my life.
Yeah, there's a lot, right?
I don't know if it was, I don't know if you guys have spoke about that before. I know you guys have done one before. My dad,
any comedian
go ahead.
Successful has to travel. That's all part of.
Well, my wife, you know, as an actress, she was traveling before Zoe was born. We were hardly ever together. We were in love, but we were never together because we were both traveling so much, you know. And I talk about it on the stage. I say I think separation helped my relationship because I think it's the foundation for a long marriage. In fact, if my wife and I never see each other again, we'll be married forever. I used to say that on the stage all the time because it's true. And, you know, Sue had to make a choice. You know, she was getting all these offers on the road, and slowly but surely she had to say no because she wanted to be at home and be the center. Zoe needed somebody that was always there. And Sue took that ability, and, you know, I'm forever in her debt to do that because I was able to travel and see the world, you know, and on somebody else's dime and, you know, make people laugh and then come home. But I miss so much stuff. That's what I worry about as a parent about my daughter going into the business. You know, I mean, it's a unique business in the sense that, you know, you can't go down to the local music store from 9 to 5. You got to go to Arizona. You got to go to Florida. It's the world that you know but this is the business we chose. So that's just the aspects of that. As a parent, as an artist, I understand it totally.
You promise to come back and next time bring your wife, Glenn?
Yeah, she would love that.
You would love to talk to Sue. She'd love to talk to you, Ralph. Absolutely. Maybe in a couple of months.
Yeah, we'll all get on here, and then you won't even get a word in because we'll all just be like spewing.
Well, we thank you, man. We thank you very much.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Always great to talk to you.
Thank Wayne, too. He's got a bad connection, but he's trying. Wayne, are you still there?
Oh, Wayne's there?
Yeah, Wayne. Well, you tell Wayne. I'll speak with him sometime soon, too. And maybe we'll see each other sooner than later.
Beautiful. And when you get back out to Northern California,
I'll give you a call either way. You know, we have some lunch or dinner or something.
That would be great.
Great, Ralph.
All right.
That's awesome. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, Ralph.
Thank
always
you both. Thank you, Wayne, for coming in. And,
thanks, Wayne.
Yes, thank you, Wayne.
Let's do this regularly. I would really enjoy it. And again, one more, because I'm acutely aware of trying to get the word out on people's careers. So one more time, if you would, Glenn, tell where Zoe's going to be playing in the next few days.
But let Joe tell you. She'll tell you.
I'll tell you, because he might, get the details a little messy.
And I don't want to blow that.
I'm playing this weekend at the Study Hollywood at 8:30 p.m. So.
Los Angeles, California. If anybody's out there.
You got to fly in. Got to fly in for the show.
Almost. But it should be fun.
My arms tired. Okay.
Well, thanks, buddy.
This is awesome.
Again, this is the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Ralph Zig Tyko, the weak link of it all. So come back and listen to us anytime you want, Audii. And what a pleasure this has been with the Hirsches.
Thank you, man.
All right. Adios, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.